The State Department of Justice has had investigators here gathering evidence. Marinette County Sheriff's deputies say they had to kill a man who was carrying a gun. Good morning. Today is when all of the magic happens. This crack center here will be literally transformed. Nearly 100 volunteers will fill these rows and rows of empty racks. You can see all the hangers on them with thousands of winter jackets for the Coats for Kids program. You can see just all of the piles and piles. Nothing has been evacuated. That crash happened off of DeLangley, just south of 41. Take a look and you can see the truck, the UPS truck here behind me. Good morning. Well, as you can see, the stores are open here at Bay Park Square Mall, and the doorbuster deals are continuing, carrying over from last night. They're calling it the Drive for 5. The Packers are hoping to fill these beds to reach 5,000 pints of blood donated, and they're only a couple hundred pints away, so they're hoping maybe they can get there today. Tammy and Kevin, Green Bay police say all the incidents have happened in this neighborhood in just the last 10 days, and they say that if you live here, you should make sure to keep your doors and windows locked. As you can see here behind me, 8th Avenue is blocked off. Oshkosh police say that a man was stabbed around 3 o'clock this morning. That's right, history will be made here tonight at Lambeau Field. Brett Favre's jersey number is the 6th to be retired. The hole has since been covered up with a tarp since the crash happened, but the woman who lives here says that area behind the hole is actually a playroom for her grandchildren, and if they would have been here, this would have been much worse. In my hand here, I have a little bit of hail that's left over from earlier this morning. It is still a very active investigation this morning. Take a look and you can see, as you mentioned, Thompson Street is still blocked off. That's because there is a thin sheet of ice on top of it, like the one I have in my hand right now. The boats here are made out of fiberglass, which contains resin. The Sturgeon Bay Fire Department says it's highly flammable, so it caused the fire to spread very quickly. Speeding drivers on Monroe Avenue and congestion in the school zone surrounding Aldo Leopold School are nothing new, but now there is a renewed interest in trying to solve the problem. The goal of that skate-a-thon is to raise money to pay off this brand new Zamboni. Lucky for you, I have a good friend named Greg Smrava who owns this place, and he just gave me a strawberry punchki so that you can try your first punchki ever on the air for us and tell us how it tastes. Did you get some of that filling?
That's really good. That is really good.
Berkeley Road is now back open this morning. You can see an unmarked car from the Brown County Sheriff's Office watching over the home here behind me that Nicole Vanderheiden and Douglas Dietrich shared. Investigators arrived back here to this neighborhood around 5:30 last night. There was a report of blood found in front of another home nearby. Now that happened at just about the same time that investigators positively identified the victim as Nicole Vanderheiden. Investigators moved quickly, gathering evidence and interviewing neighbors. Dietrich was arrested at his parents' house. He initially did make some statements to investigators before requesting a lawyer. The scene around his home was active overnight as police searched yards for more clues and made sure neighbors were aware of what was happening.
We obviously are doing neighborhood canvassing. We want to see if anybody saw anything during this time process. So we have to talk to everybody. You try and get as much information as early as possible after you discover that a homicide had occurred. This is not out of the norm to bring as many people.
Investigators say the murder likely happened early Saturday morning. Vanderheiden's body was found just hours later. Police haven't said how she was killed or why. They say they believe this was an isolated incident between the couple, but officers are looking into whether or not Dietrich had any help. Vanderheiden was a mother of 3. She and Dietrich had 1 child together. No court date has been set, but we'll be following this story and bring you the latest developments. Reporting live in Ledgeview, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News. The incident ended here on the 300 block of North Ashland Avenue when that car that was speeding crashed into this house here behind me. Take a look and you can see just the hole in the front porch here. Parts of the fence were torn down and there's just other various debris in the front yard here. But this all started in Ashwaubenon. Green Bay police say that Ashwaubenon Public Safety was trying to stop a car in the village that was traveling at a very high rate of speed. Then, for reasons unclear, stopped pursuing the car at Ashland Avenue and Mason Street. Now, right at that time, a Green Bay police officer happened to be pulling out on Dousman Street and saw that car going very fast. The officer wasn't aware even that the Ashwaubenon public safety officer had previously tried to stop the car.
Observed the vehicle get hit, run a flashing red, get hit by another car. The vehicle lost control, hit a tree, and then hit the front porch of a house here on Ashland.
The driver of the car that crashed ran off. Green Bay police used a canine unit to try to track him, but were unsuccessful. They are still trying to find him, but based on vehicle registration, police believe they know who it is and that he may even live in this area. Police say when they do find him, he will be charged with using unreasonable speed, hit and run with injury, and failure to stop at a controlled intersection. The driver of the other car was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Reporting live in Green Bay, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News. You can see the Quick Trip store is boarded up here behind me. Wisconsin State Patrol has been working to reconstruct the crash, and Grand Chute police are investigating. Police say the driver lost control at a stoplight at Nicolay and College Avenue before losing control and slamming into the side of the building. Police say witnesses told them the driver was going around 100 miles an hour. Police aren't sure why he was going so fast. The driver hasn't been identified, but we do know he is a 23-year-old man from Kaukauna. He was taken to Theta Clark with life-threatening injuries. Police say he may have been driving under the influence of a controlled substance. Fortunately, no one else was hurt, but police do say the building is in pretty bad shape.
There's some pretty severe structural damage to the building right now. We're having the building inspector come out to inspect the building, but I know they're going to be closing it for the night.
Building inspectors will be out here today to make sure the store is structurally sound. There's no word on if it will reopen today. Reporting live in Grand Chute, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News. Green Bay police say about 3 o'clock this morning they received reports of gunshots fired on the 800 block of Howard Street here behind me. Police were here until early this morning canvassing this neighborhood looking for shell casings. Based on what they've heard, they say they believe about 4 to 6 shots were fired. They do say they believe it is an isolated incident. The community is not in any danger. Police have one person in custody who they are talking to try to get more information.
So far now, we don't have any victims of any gunshot wounds. Based on what witnesses say, we are looking for certain vehicles.
Police say they will release more information about exactly what type of vehicle they are looking for later this morning. But for now, ask anyone who may have heard or seen anything to call the Green Bay Police Department. Reporting live in Green Bay, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News. The fire happened at this house here behind me. We're being kept back a distance. This block here is surrounded by police tape. The 4 children who were home at the time of the fire were ages 11 and under. The Sheboygan Falls Fire Department confirms that one of those children has died. 2 others were flown to Children's Hospital in Milwaukee. Another did manage to escape the fire safely. The parents were not home at the time of the fire. Last night, as firefighters rushed in, there was smoke coming from the home. They were rushing in trying to find the children to save them. All 3 were taken to Sheboygan Hospital in very critical condition. The 2 were later flown to Children's Hospital in Milwaukee. So far, no further updates have been given on their condition.
We have a number of departments that responded to this scene for assistance. A very good coordinated effort between all the departments and the firefighters in removing and locating the children, removing them very quickly.
A press conference is scheduled for 8:30 this morning where we are expected to learn more. We'll be following this story throughout the day. Reporting live in Sheboygan Falls, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News. Investigators in Neenah say they will release more information today about what happened at this motorcycle shop on Main Street here Saturday morning. 1 man was arrested and another man died in an officer-involved shooting. Neenah's mayor and police chief confirmed to us that 3 officers are on administrative leave following that shooting, which they say is standard procedure. Authorities now identify the suspect who was arrested after hours of negotiations as 45-year-old Brian Flatoff. He's accused of firing at least 1 shot inside Eagle Nation Cycles before taking several people hostage. 60-year-old Michael Funk died after police say he came out of the building with a gun and didn't follow officers' demands to put it down. Officers shot Funk, who later died at the hospital. Investigators say he may have also been shot while he was inside of the building. Investigators are still working on what happened to Funk. He was an employee at the store, and the owner says Funk was being held hostage at gunpoint. He says Funk ran from the store looking for police protection.
What we think happened is, in the midst of this confusion, I think if ML saw that fire extinguisher going off, he tried to get out of the building. He made a run for it. He never had no gun or threatened anybody. They shot him when he came running out the door.
Eagle Nation Cycles owner Steve Irado says he was in the basement of the building Saturday morning when Flatoff is believed to have walked in to confront someone else in the shop. According to Irado, as he walked upstairs from the basement, his longtime friend ML Funk warned him of the confrontation.
I could see a guy his back was facing me. And I could see that they were talking, and ML was just at his computer desk, but he looked at me and he went like this. Go back downstairs. I get on my cell phone instantly, and I knew ML was sitting at the desk. I call him, and I go, do I need to call the police? He goes, yeah. So I hurry and call 911, and I told him from the very beginning, there's an active shooter in the building, and I believe he's got hostages up there.
Now, the owner says he could hear gunshots while he was in the basement. He stayed there for several hours on the phone with dispatchers during negotiations until he was told it was safe to come out. The Wisconsin Department of Justice is assisting Neenah police in their investigation. Reporting live in Neenah, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News. You can see Kohler Company employees have gathered here behind me. They're ready to go, many of them holding signs, getting ready to march from the Union Building here, UAW Local 833, to the Kohler Company headquarters in Kohler. About 2,000 workers expected to march just moments from now at 7 o'clock this morning. After Sunday's vote, many members spent their afternoon picketing outside of Kohler. The union president says their main concerns are pay and increased insurance costs. Union members accepted a company proposal 5 years ago that froze wages until this year and increased health insurance costs. The Kohler proposal, rejected Sunday, called for a roughly 2% a year increase in wages for about 80% of the unionized workforce.
We kind of think the earliest it could possibly resolve is maybe Thanksgiving, but it could probably go a lot longer. It's not about getting what we want, it's about getting what's right. And you know what, there's a lot of things wrong with this contract. So if we don't stand up to it now, I guess you know what, we never will.
Kohler's proposal would have also raised health insurance costs, though it did offer a $1,200 bonus to help cover those costs. We'll be here throughout the morning and bring you the developments as they unfold. Reporting live in Sheboygan County, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News. Good morning. We are back inside Cabela's, and you know, I was getting teased a little bit that I wasn't quite dressed the part this morning in my blue dress, so I decided to get a little festive and fit in here with Cabela's. And this is just one of the examples of things you will find all inside the store this morning, but there's some other interesting things, features in the store, and one of them is the Wisconsin Sportsman Hall of Fame. And I apologize, we can't get back inside there because of our reception this morning, but I am joined again by Wes Rummer, the spokesman for Cabela's. And Wes, tell us a little bit about what people can find inside of that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame is a very unique area of the store. We have a hunting side and a fishing side. The entire area is dedicated to trophy animals taken across the state, which represents the heritage and the tradition of all the sportsmen here in Wisconsin, which is appropriate because we think that the store is going to draw not only customers from Green Bay and Nashwabanon, but the region as well. So we're excited to bring the store to the entire state.
And you said that is one of the more unique features to the store because no other store has, you know, a Hall of Fame like that. And you do expect this to kind of be a tourism draw. How many people are you expecting, you know, even today, for example?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint a figure, but we've had thousands in line before for other grand openings, so we hope for more of the same here. We encourage people to please come out and be part of the festivities.
All right, Wes, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we will be back inside the store again for our next half hour, so make sure you check back with us then. Reporting live inside Cabela's, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News.
Action 2 News at noon starts now.
New this noon, fire crews battle sub-zero temperatures and flames in the Fox Valley. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kristen Allen. Kevin is off today. The Outagamie County Sheriff's Office tells us the fire may have started in a vehicle and spread to a garage. It happened here at Prestige Executive Limousines just south of Main Street in Hortonville. There's still no sign of 12 Marines whose 2 helicopters crashed off Hawaii during nighttime training on Thursday. The Coast Guard says they have no intention of calling off or suspending the search despite high waves. Democratic presidential candidates Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders get aggressive during last night's debate in Charleston, South Carolina. The latest polls show Sanders could upset Clinton in both Iowa and in New Hampshire. One of the 5 American detainees has already arrived home in the United States after being imprisoned in Iran. 30-year-old Matthew Trevithick from the Boston area returned to Massachusetts last night. The prisoner exchange came as the Iran nuclear deal was implemented, some sanctions being lifted as Iran showed it's dismantling its nuclear program. If you're looking to sell your house, it may be more difficult than you think. A new national survey from NeighborWorks America says millennials and seniors actually prefer renting homes over buying them. Democratic presidential candidates debate for the last time before the first contest of the 2016 election.
That was the first thing you mentioned during the top of the show.
I did. I like to stay positive and focus on the silver lining.
Well, we will be definitely in positive territory with highs getting up into the mid to upper 20s later in the week.
Well, that's what I like to hear. You know, you have the winter you want to enjoy, and you can't really enjoy it when it's quite this cold.
It's like staying by your window, staring outside.
That's what I like to do. Thanks, Steve.
You bet.
David Bowie's final album now holds the #1 place for the first time in the United States. His album Black Star has debuted at #1 on Billboard's Top 200 album chart. Well, still ahead on Action 2 News at noon. If you have a daughter who loves American Girl dolls, then you won't want to miss an upcoming event benefiting the Children's Museum of Green Bay. We'll tell you more after the break. It's going to be at the Tundra Lodge. It's a fundraiser this spring. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Tell us just a little bit about this event, you know, what it is. Yeah, definitely looking a lot better. Thanks, Steve, for working that out for me.
Anytime.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.